Hi, everyone. My name is Yaejoon. I use they, she pronouns. I am an assistant professor of sociology and comparative race and ethnicity studies. Um, just very briefly about myself, I teach both in sociology and CRES for short, comparative race and ethnicity studies. I teach courses. This year, for example, I taught the Intro to Sociology course, which is kind of our gateway course that opens up the possibilities to all of our other sociology courses. I also taught a course on militarism, and I teach a sociology of race and racism course. And then I also am currently teaching the CRES 300, which is our junior seminar for CRES majors, but it's also cross-listed. Anybody who wants to take it can take it. And this iteration of the course is titled Race, Power, and Violence. So those are kind of a sampling of the courses that I teach. And I also teach a class on sociology of Asian America as well. So I'm an Asian Americanist, I'm a historical sociologist, and that's kind of my training.
I'm Paul Silverstein. I teach in the anthropology department. I'm an anthropologist. I'm a cultural anthropologist, a sociocultural anthropologist. Sometimes we say I do research in North Africa, but also on immigration in France in particular, but also in Northern Europe. I'm interested in the kind of that long history of that kind of diasporic transnational situation. And I teach courses on all those parts of the world, on Europe, on Morocco and North Africa, on the Middle East. I'm currently teaching a course on the Middle East now, as well as topics on colonialism, on urban anthropology, on class, on race and immigration, and on sport. We are mostly focused on sociocultural anthropology, but also linguistic anthropology. We have a couple of people who do linguistic anthropology as well. And as of next year, for the first time, in 25 years, we're going to have an archaeologist on the faculty. So we have a set of courses that we offer that are open to first-year students, but also open. I mean, they're really targeted for first-year and second-year students, but sometimes juniors and seniors take them as well. That are topic-based introductory courses. And I mentioned the global health course. I do a course on body, spaces, subjectivities, which is a kind of phenomenological anthropology. How do we think about culture through the body rather than through the mind? As I mentioned, Anand's course on global political ecology and a course on language, culture, and power that Charlene Makeley teaches. So these are kind of introductory level courses that are really trying to give a taste of anthropology through a topic. But we have a more general introductory course that is really designed for majors or people who are really serious about anthropology, but also who may be majoring in some of the allied fields like sociology, political science, economics, history. And then we also have courses, I guess, that we would call topical courses, such as this one on social movements, protests. This is actually an area course that are really focusing on a particular area. So a course like this is about South Asia. And then we have here's another course on Morocco that I teach. There's courses on China and Tibet, as they say, there are courses on Africa, there are courses on whatever, where you kind of may think about a particular topic or a particular set of topics within anthropology that's really focused in on a singular part of the world. And then finally, just to give a sense of the curriculum, we have a set of courses that are designed for upper level students, people usually majors, but not always, that are at the 400 level, that are really based around kind of a particular theoretical paradigm. So whether semiotics, which is about kind of communication, theories of communication, or about performance and performativity, or about sovereignty, et cetera, et cetera. So these are kind of more upper level courses that are designed to take on a particular conceptual set of tools. If one were to major in anthropology, you usually start off by taking one of the introductory courses, and then over the course of the time you're at Reed, as a major, you would then take a set of 6 other anthropology courses, including some that are more area-based and some that are more theory-based. And we also do require proficiency in a non-English language, which we define as either the fact that you have that language in some way that you can show to us, or that you take 2 units of college level courses at the second year or above. And then finally, we also have a couple of new tracks. These are brand new within anthropology. So if you could just be an anthropology major, and that's fine, or you could kind of specialize in either linguistic anthropology or in what we're calling science, environment, and technology studies, or SETS. This is the International Comparative policy studies program. It's an interdisciplinary program run through the Division of History and the Social Sciences. It's a way to kind of, if it's hard, for people who find it very hard to choose between anthropology and sociology and, political science and economics, you don't have to. It's a great program. You have to, it makes you really specialize in 3 of them at the same time. But they just like with the CRES program, they are also tied to a particular primary discipline in which you more or less fulfill pretty close to the normal coursework you would do in anthropology or sociology, but you add on to it a secondary and then a tertiary field. But it allows you to explore a couple issues in depth that are really that are described here is, if for those who are really interested in kind of issues around globalization, on comparative policy, on international economic development and international relations.
Sociology is structured a little bit differently than anthropology in terms of the major requirements. Like anthropology, we study humans, but we study social life in the kind of way of study of social groups and institutions, study of social issues and problems. And methodologically, just like anthropology, how they're diverse in their methodological approaches, sociology is also diverse in their methodological approaches. In our Reed department, we have mixed methods approaches, meaning we have 2 of our sociologists are quantitative sociologists. So that's working with data sets, doing statistical analyses. We also have a qualitative sociologist, and I'm a historical sociologist as well. So, doing things like interviews, semi-structured interviews, focus groups, whatever it is. And so if you're interested in exploring sociology as a potential major, my number 1 recommendation to you would be to, get into a Soci 211 course, an introductory course. And I believe that's offered to first years during the spring semester. Okay. So that way you're set up your second year to take any of our other courses. And the courses that we offer in our department are pretty diverse. We're a slightly smaller department than anthropology. We have 4 faculty, and we have Kirsten, who does work on work and gender. So she teaches primarily courses on work, gender. She also does science. And so she teaches a really popular class called Science and Social Difference. We have Mark, who's an economic sociologist. He also does work on organizations and cooperatives. And so he teaches classes on, he does a race economy policy course. He does a course on co-ops and organizations. And then we have Alex, who teaches courses on social movements and feminisms, and she also teaches classes on sociology of culture and communism. As for the major requirements itself, like I mentioned, that introductory course is required. Then the other required course is our research methods course, which is Sociology 311. And so that's a quantitative-based course. And then you have a junior seminar, which is the course that we go through the junior qual process with you. And then we have just 5 upper division sociology courses. So it's a pretty straightforward major in terms of the kind of required courses. CRES, it's a pretty new program. And it's the study, it's an interdisciplinary program that studies race and ethnicity from an interdisciplinary perspective. And what that means in terms of how this program is structured is that you take a CRES foundational course, which is a course that looks centrally, right, at its core, questions about race and ethnicity. You take a junior seminar course, which is the CRES 300 course. And the other component is that because it's an interdisciplinary course, there's a home department attached to it. So you can't just major in CRES. So anthropology, sociology, English, music, dance, and theater, and history are the departments that have CRES affiliations.
What do people do after majoring in sociology and anthropology? And specifically, this person is wondering about law school.
Literally yesterday evening, we did a showcase of former anthropology majors who are now working in doing, in various disciplines or various fields of professional life that are not anthropology, but are still doing anthropology. One of those people is a lawyer doing public interest law up in Seattle, who's like been very involved in involved in the BLM versus the city of Seattle litigation, for instance. But we also had people who are journalists, are public educators, are work for nonprofits and museums, are in the field of medicine. I mean, someone who's kind of combined and kind of like, it's not just, it's less, per se medical anthropology, but, kind of is an emergency room physician who nonetheless says like, look, I need my anthropology every day because I'm continually having to navigate across all sorts of terrains of difference to be an effective doctor. And learning how to ask questions, learning how to kind of have those conversations is precisely what we learned in the social sciences at Reed.
We've got some commonalities there too in sociology. And also even how I got into sociology in the first place. I worked at an immigration law firm. I was a youth organizer. Those are kind of fields that our students also go into. So other than like pre-med, pre-law, working for government, city, state government, nonprofit organizations. One of my advisees from last year is a community organizer here in Portland. Many of our students also go off to graduate schools, to master's degrees, or to get PhDs in sociology or related fields. Demography is another one. We have students who've gone into social work as well, and working in realms like advocating for houseless folks, domestic violence organizations, and also think tanks is one that students also go to as well.